Welcome to the Conscious Living Podcast, conversations to educate, empower, and enlighten our world. An uplifting and inspiring series of conversations and talks with your host, Jackie Woodside. We are educating minds, empowering lives, and enlightening souls to create a world where love prevails. In this engaging podcast, we deliver exciting, positive, transformative talks and teachings designed to elevate your life. Now, let's join our host, Jackie Woodside, for this week's session.
Hi, everyone. Jackie Woodside here, the founder and your host of the Conscious Living Podcast, where we are here to educate, empower, and enlighten our world. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the Conscious Living Podcast. And I'm so excited to bring to the stage today someone who is been in this field for a long time and really both understands deeply and appreciates deeply the journey of the human being expressing itself at our highest and deepest level. Julie Kraschinsky has been a coach in this field for 25 years. She talks about a really unique method that I find interesting. She says her mission is to help you step into your best life by tapping into, listen to this, your inner GPS system that is always guiding you. So she has some really unique inner focused approaches in helping you live life more consciously. So Julie, welcome to the Conscious Living Podcast. I really appreciate you being here with us.
Hi, Jackie. Me too. I love being here. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited about our time together.
Yeah, likewise. So do you mind just, fleshing out a little bit more about your background? I know you were in direct sales for many years, really crushed it in that industry as well, and then moved into coaching entrepreneurs. So you have such a unique and successful and fascinating background. I'd love to hear more about it, and then we'll go from there.
Thank you. Yeah. So before I started as an entrepreneur, I was in corporate America for, I think, 13, 14 years. And so that was a major shift from going from corporate America to being my own boss, right? Everybody wants to be their own boss.
Yeah.
But what I found, nobody tells you how to be your own boss.
Right.
Right. And that was my first journey as turning from an employee to a CEO. And what I found being in direct sales, of which I said no for 5 years because I thought I was too good for a direct sales business. I was corporate executive, but I wanted to stay home and be a stay-at-home mom. And that was the best avenue for me to give it a try. So that was my first leap of faith, trying in an industry where that was almost 30 years ago now. So there wasn't a lot of people being super successful at that time. And I learned early on how to be a CEO and how to delegate with my kids and all these things. And I went through a lot of bumps in the road. And I feel I am an expert now and to show you what to do when you start your own business working from home with children, with small children, right?
Yeah.
And I look back and a very successful career in that. And I was coaching women, helping them build their businesses and starting businesses. And what I found mostly that I would spend a lot of time on building their confidence, not so much teaching them the ropes of how to run this business, but mostly how to really tap into your God-given talents and just let it flow and it comes to you. And that's how I built years and years of successful customer retention and team retention.
Wow. Nice. Fantastic. You know what I love about what you said there, Julie, is that you had a successful corporate career and you left it really what you were saying without using this language is that you left it to really pursue your values of being a stay-at-home mom and being there for your kids. And I just think that's such an essential part of conscious living is, knowing what you value and then being willing and having the courage to actually craft your life according to what you value. And I just look at the blessings in your life because you went on to be a very successful person in direct sales. Do you want to say a little bit more about what you actually accomplished?
Yeah, sometimes you do that comparison, method where you look at, oh, I don't think I was all that great. There were always people doing more than I was. And I just knew, like, my very first year in my director's team, I was the number one, her number one beauty consultant in sales. And I'm like, really? Like, I'm hardly doing anything. And it was
Wow.
just fun. I was like enjoying myself, having time with girlfriends, making some extra cash. That's all I really wanted, was to make an extra $100 a week so I can supply my kids with, clothes from Baby Gap or Gymboree and go to McDonald's, whatever we were doing at the time, without having to ask my husband for money.
Yeah.
And I just found that, because, like you said, with my core values and just, you know, relationships, for me, it's really about building strong relationships
Mhm.
and never about selling. And of course, you're selling a product and your service, whatever, but based on, right, my why was my children. I wanted to
Yeah.
be the one to raise them,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they're both entrepreneurs today. Neither of them are working for anybody except for themselves. So
Why does that not
it's interesting.
surprise me, right? After watching what you were able to accomplish as an entrepreneur. So you
Yeah.
coach entrepreneurs now, and you use a method that you call heart-centered and joyful approach to business. And I'm curious about both of those phrases, the heart-centered. You hear that in the industry. And I'm always curious to ask someone who brands themselves as that, what exactly it means. So heart-centered and joyful. So tell us a little bit about that and how it relates to running a conscious business.
So, I've always operated my life and business like that. So for me, sometimes when people ask that question, you go, well, why wouldn't you run your business that way? But then you don't realize that there's a lot of people who are not running their business.
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a lot of really unhappy entrepreneurs out there.
Yes. Oh, yes, 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 yes. And that's why I created the Joyful CEO Life program and community, because I saw that. And even going through in the direct sales industry, I was taking these women and lifting them up and giving them confidence and just really having them tap into, just be kind, be courteous, like, who can you serve? Like, come with a servant's heart. And Mary Kay, that's who I was in direct sales, always was the go give spirit. That's how she ran her company. And I just brought that into, I mean, that's how I was brought up, to do unto others as you would want them to do unto you. And it's just simple that way. You're not pushy, you're not, really helping women that care about other people, truly want to serve and make an impact, not only in their families' lives and the people around them, but in the world. And it really has to come from being heart centered.
And how does that translate to business? Like,
Yeah.
okay, so you can be heart-centered, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you know how to do sales and marketing, or that you know how to put a program together, or I mean, there's a lot of elements to the field of being a coach, and in any entrepreneurial business, really.
Yeah.
So how does that translate?
Yes. Well, of course, for me, I've always invested in people to help me in those certain areas that maybe was not my forte. Business strategies I've learned, and being in corporate America, I was also in sales and marketing. So I learned that way, the corporate way. But I've always, even when I was in corporate America, it was all based, my clientele and the way I address sales was always from my heart first. It's like, how can I serve these people? Do they really need what I'm offering? And listen to their needs before you offer a solution, because they may just not be a good fit, right? And then you learn the strategies based on where, what is their why? Why are they coming to you? Do they have a problem that you can fix? And
Mm-hmm.
are they the person, do they feel that you're the person that can get them there?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So that's kind of where you bring in the more heart-centered. You're not trying to do a hard sell. You're not trying to be the answer to everybody. Y-
Yes.
y-
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Okay. So how did you make that journey of going from kind of corporate leadership role to, being more heart-centered, feeling that passion? Did you feel like it was a calling? Was there intuition or kind of spiritual guidance involved? How did you move from the traditional career ladder to the more, do it yourself creative entrepreneur ladder?
Well, that's a good question, because it was a total faith and intuition. For me, it's God. So I, prayed a lot about it. There's been a lot of milestones in my life
Okay.
where that was one, leaving a good corporate paying job when we just had bought a new home. We have 2 new cars, and now I want to be a stay-at-home mom. And my husband at the time's like, great, just don't spend any money. And I'm like,
Right,
oh,
right.
going to be interesting. So how am I going to do this? So I had another child, and then I had 2, and I'm like, okay, I'm having mommy mush brain. What can I do, right? And I wanted to contribute, but that was like a big leap of faith because I was scared. Like when I took that leap into direct sales, people around me, well-meaning family members, would tell me how unsuccessful that their neighbor's cousin's wife's sister was when they tried to do direct sales, and that I was probably going to fail too. So I just kept listening into my intuition and just asking God to guide me, and just thought, you know what, let me just come with this as not success and failure, but just go in and have fun and serve.
Yeah.
And don't look so much at what the outcome is going to be.
Yeah.
So that was a huge leap of faith, going into that. And then I earned my first car as just a beauty consultant. I wasn't even in a leadership position yet. And that was we talked about when I met you earlier about the law of assumption, like assuming that there's a plan, that other people have done it. This is my desire. Okay, we need a new car. I know you can get one from that company. And I'm like, all right, I'll follow the plan.
Oh, wow. Now, wait a minute. Back up here. So the law of assumption. So you incorporate spiritual laws into your business.
Of course. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So the law of assumption, let's just define it for our listeners so people have an understanding of what it is. And then let's go back and apply it like specifically to this example. I love doing that.
Yeah. So for me, it's just, see yourself as already achieving this. Assume it's going to happen.
It's already done.
Already done. It's already been created. Just like when I was saying, earning the car, well, the company had a proven car program, right? So it's been done. I knew people driving the free cars, and you could go to that. Yes, but not me. It'd be easy for them. They had this, whatever, the comparison thing. And I just thought, oh no, I saw myself. And I remember to this day, it was so vivid. Your imagination is so strong, right? That it was 1998. And I can still see that cherry, what was it called? It was like a candy apple red Grand Am. That was the first level of car sitting in my driveway in Buffalo, New York. I could still to this day see it in my driveway before it actually was in my driveway. So what I'm visualizing is me visualizing it, not the actual car.
Yes. Yeah.
Until it was in my driveway.
Wow. So that the spiritual power of imagination, or the spiritual law of imagination. Have you heard that phrase before?
Oh, yeah.
Power of imagination. Sure. So Charles Fillmore, Neville Goddard, or some teachers back 100 years ago who started talking about the spiritual power of imagination. And today, researchers like Dawson Church and Greg Braden, there are people who are actually bringing the science now in behind it.
Yes, finally.
Yeah. No, it's an exciting time, isn't it, Julie, to live at this intersection of science and spirituality?
Yes.
Go ahead.
No, I was thinking, like, I didn't realize what laws I was tapping into back then.
Yeah.
But when I look at like the journey and all those little milestones along the way, it was like, yes, I was using the laws. I was using the spiritual laws, right? And the same thing when I went through, so we were in Buffalo, New York. I became a sales director. We're very successful. We became #1 in our whole national area 2 years in a row. It was just, and people would call me and they would ask, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, it was ease and flow. And that's how it's supposed to be. We make things so difficult. When you then turn to the like, oh no, what if this falls out from underneath me? Then you start blocking that positive energy, and the bottom does fall out from underneath.
Right. And that is also using the spiritual power of imagination.
Yes.
when you're envisioning, the potential catastrophes or the loss or what could go wrong, what if is just a tool, right?
Yes.
So whether you're
Yeah.
saying, what if I've got the cherry colored
Yeah.
car sitting in my
Yeah.
driveway, or what if the bottom falls out? You are both, in both instances, employing the spiritual power of imagination, or the spiritual law of assumption, as you've dubbed it here.
Yeah.
So that's what people need to realize, that you're employing spiritual law all the time anyway, because it is science. It's not just a philosophy or a spiritual belief.
Yes.
Science that says what you put your focus on is what you bring into your world. So
Right.
let's go back and apply it more specifically, Julie. So you had this vision, you needed a new car. Your husband's like, fine, but don't spend any money.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, this company has a plan that if I do X, Y, and Z. But how
Yes.
did you bring the spiritual law of attraction or imagination, the law of assumption? How did you use it? Was it in the morning? Was it, you do it 2 minutes a day? Like, actually, I want to get really practical of how you brought it
Yeah.
into your life.
It's interesting because I do spend a lot of time now with my clients, and I even have like a morning routine document that I share with them.
Nice, nice.
Um, I think I had a routine, but I never really
You
like,
didn't call it that.
yeah, I didn't really realize it, like the visualization. And a lot of that was taught in that industry, to visualize yourself in the position that you want to be, like act as if, right? I mean, those things
Yeah.
were things that we've heard. So I don't know if that was a long time ago. I don't remember exactly what it was.
Sure. Yeah.
I do believe I've always loved my mornings. So even when my children were small, I would always get up before them. And in this industry, there was a 5 o'clock club where the people that got up at 5 and did that quiet time and meditation and all that. And I always did that. I was listening to, way back then, it was Og Mandino Scrolls. And I just thought of these the other day. And I would listen to them in the morning on my little boom box while I
Yeah.
was getting kids breakfast. And my son, sometimes he was 8 or 9, and he would ask, like, Mom, can we listen to those scrolls? And he
Nice.
would get used to listening to them. And so back then, I guess I was doing it. I just didn't really put like a name to the practice,
Yeah.
like I do now.
Yeah, and you're so committed to it now that you have a worksheet for your clients, the morning ritual. Is that what you call it?
Yeah, it's a morning routine. And
Morning routine.
we actually, and I just did a little mini masterclass in my private Facebook group on how to create a morning routine. Because we, again, assume when you're hanging out with like-minded people,
Right.
doesn't everybody do a morning routine? You have a routine. You get up, you go to the bathroom, you might
Yeah.
make coffee, you might stretch, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what we do is really kind of help people create new habits with the things they're already doing, to incorporate something new. If they're not meditating, but they're getting up and making their coffee every day, it might take 5-10 minutes, sit down and do a quick meditation. Get one of the apps. I love the Calm app and Insight Timer. All those are just simple tools that you can use right at your fingertips.
So you help people build that morning routine.
I help them build the habits
Yeah.
around creating a life that they love, based on, visioning, meditating, and imagination, right? Tapping into your imagination, for sure.
Yeah. And do you help people who can't see it? Like, what do you do when people are like, well, I don't really know, or I can't really see it? I'm sure you hear that.
Yes, 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 yes. Well, usually when they start out, their vision for their life and their future is really just like one line. I would love, boom, I would love this. And then by time, we're together 30, 60, 90 days, they have this robust, vivid details of what they would love. And I keep having them expand upon it, expand upon it. And then you can see their confidence, and just like, wow, if I just, like, you're making it up. Like you said, you're making it up anyways. You might as
Yeah.
well make up something that you want to see the outcome, not
Right.
like the terror of that imagination, because you can terrorize yourself
Right.
with those
Right.
what ifs.
I
Right.
think that's the most important thing people can take from this conversation today, is that this reality that you are always plugged in to the spiritual
Mhm.
power of imagination. And I guess what you and I are both saying is we coach people to use it consciously.
Yes.
rather than unconsciously.
Unconsciously, yes.
I love what you said that like kind of where you start with people is they have one sentence of what their vision is. You know, I want to be healthy and happy and I want my kids to thrive and, you know,
Yes.
whatever, maybe it's the, you know, summer home on the water or whatever, but you know, it's pretty simple,
All of those.
right?
Yes. Yes.
And then as you work with them, you know, you're
Mhm.
kind of helping them tap into this field of pure potential that is right there, you know, when you're just tapped into it. The power of attention. Where is your attention going? And I think so much in our world today, and I'm curious your experience of this, Julie, so much in our world today, our attention is on getting through the day.
Mhm.
Because
Yes.
the pace of life is so fast and the pace of change in our world is incredibly accelerated right now. And I don't even think we've begun to see the beginning of it with the advent of AI, artificial intelligence, and augmented reality. Language learning models. We've not even begun to see the beginnings of how rapidly things are going to change. So
Mhm.
people are in this phase, this place where kind of our neurology hasn't kept up with the technology pace and changes. So I'm just curious, you know, what your thoughts are about that when, you know, people are just kind of getting through the day and you're helping people to be more expansive and,
Yes,
you know, talk about that process a little bit.
for sure. So I'll give you a little secret. What my clients get when they start working with me, and this is in the very first call when they've made a decision. Yes, I need some guidance. I need some help, accountability, whatever it is, and believing that I'm the person that can take them there. We schedule something called joy breaks, and they are suggested that nothing is you have to do this, but I suggest that they schedule them throughout their day because most of the women or men or people that come to me are doings. So I said, we're human beings, we're not human doings. And just sitting there making it happen, work, making the phone calls, doing all those stuff is so constrictive. You're not allowing space for the out of the blue gifts that are waiting to be dropped in to your life, in your business, in your lap, if you're just allowing it. Because, like you said, everything that you desire is already created, it's already there. You just need to be vibrationally in match and in harmony with it. And we take those joy breaks, and they will text me, I'm on a joy break.
All right, wait a minute. So what does a joy break mean? What does that look like?
So a joy break could be something different for anybody or everybody. And so my little 2-year-old grandson is knocking at the door, even though I have a in recording on the side. So I'm a little distracted.
At 2 years old, he can't read the in recording.
Dad's there. He can read.
His dad's there and he can read, right?
Yeah, he's my joy break after this. I'll take a joy break. But a joy break could be anything. I had a client that she her body was going through some things, and I said, well, what would help? Like, what do you feel? And she's like, I really need to stretch, and I never put that in my day. I'm like, do you enjoy stretching? She's like, yeah, but I'm too busy, blah blah. And I'm like, what do you do every day? And she's like, ah, make my coffee. And that's what I said. When you turn on the coffee pot, go stretch. And that was a new habit she created. I had another client that loved planting and had not been planting in years. And she says, oh, I can't. I'm in an apartment now. And I'm like, do you have a patio? Do you have a concrete slab in front of you? And she's like, yeah. And I go, can you get some pots? And so that's what she did. And she would take a break during the day and cultivate the soil and water the plants and talk to them. And then she started seeing the fruits of her labor. And so there was an analogy also as she was evolving and growing and expanding. She was watching, her garden grow. And so, yeah. And so she's not working with me anymore. Um, she texted me recently saying, I did get out of the habit of doing those and my garden's gone. But she showed me something after listening to one of my webinars or something. It made her remind herself that she should be doing those joy breaks. Because if you haven't created a habit, so sometimes people work with you for 30 days, 90 days, and they think, okay, I got it. Great. Thanks for these tools. They haven't created a habit that just is automatic.
Yeah.
That's what
So
you
it
want.
sounds like you teach habit formation with anchoring it to another thing that you
Yeah.
do anyway. So
Yeah,
I do that
exactly.
as well. So why don't you talk about that a little bit, how to anchor in new habits?
Yeah, and that's basically is create something that you desire that you're not doing and attach it to something. I learned this, I think, from uh, is it Dave Allen? John? I can't remember the habit guy. What is his name? Dave Allen? John Allen, I can't remember what name what he is, but he used to say that too. Like my boyfriend's a really good one with this. If you want to remember to floss your teeth, you throw a piece of floss on your toothbrush, right? And just remember to do, I mean, just add it to a habit you're already doing until that becomes the new habit,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly right.
But also the joy breaks are something that just get up and dance, like put music on. It doesn't have to be a half-hour thing. It could be a 5 minute. You put a timer on. I'm shutting down my computer. I'm going outside. For me, it's a walk down to my park. And some days I'll take 5 of those little walks down to the park. I'm like, I've got to decompress, need out of here. Because just nature is amazing for habit forming.
Yeah.
You know?
I love
Yeah.
that. One of the things that I used recently was I know I just need to keep strength training and exercising as much as I can, as often as I can. So I anchored doing 25 squats every time I brush my teeth.
Oh, I like that.
So while I'm brushing my teeth, I do 25 squats. So it's a simple way. Yeah.
Easy.
Another anchoring is walking up the stairs rather than just kind of mindlessly going up the stairs. I jog up the stairs every
Yep.
time I go upstairs. So I'm anchoring little things into my day that's increasing the amount of exercise and activity. Walking the dog,
Yeah.
instead of mindlessly walking the dog, I keep her moving at a good clip. So I get my heart
Yes.
rate up.
Yes.
There are ways that you can anchor. And then, I love that for spiritual practice.
Oh,
I know
yes.
people say,
Sure.
I know I need to meditate. I know it should be good for me. So I have clients before they start their day, just 1 minute of
Yes.
meditation before you put your hands on the computer. So it might be in
Yes.
the car if people are still in a remote workplace.
Yeah.
It's 1 minute in the car before you put your foot out the door.
Mm-hmm.
Then 1 minute as you wrap up your day. So people in a remote workplace, the minute they sit down in the car, they're doing that anyway.
Right.
1 minute of meditation. Set your
Yeah.
timer. Just
Yeah.
breathe. Count
I
your
think
breath.
people think it's all or nothing. Like, oh, if
Yes.
I don't do it for 10 minutes, I'm not getting the benefit.
Exactly. And the latest neurological research shows that 1 minute of meditation several times throughout the day, 3 to 4 times a day, is the neurological equivalent of 20 minutes of seated meditation.
I
Now,
love
you
that.
might not become a yogi or a spiritual
Right.
enlightened master in a minute a
Yeah.
day, but neurologically, you're, balancing the hormones in your brain, releasing oxytocin and serotonin instead of cortisol and the stress hormones. So
Mm-hmm.
neurologically, it helps your brain to function better with greater clarity and you sleep better. Just 1 minute, 3 or 4 times a day. So I help my clients anchor that 1 minute into a specific task that they do throughout their day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not hard. It's
It's
not
really
rocket science.
not. That's, I think, Julie, that's what makes our work so difficult sometimes is that the principles are actually very simple,
Sure.
but the application of them isn't easy. So while
Yes.
people are engaged in, they think it has to be a difficult thing to create change in their lives and they have to do this Herculean effort. No, it's really small, simple changes done consistently over
Yes. Yes, that's the key.
time.
Consistently and not just starting like taking a course and feel like, okay, I'm
Right. Oh,
complete.
I did that course. Now, well, that didn't work for me. Or people say meditation, that didn't work for me. Well, are you still doing it? No,
No,
that's
no,
what
I
didn't
know.
work for you.
Didn't work, so I stopped. I've been working with the same spiritual mentor for 4.5 years. So, and people go, oh, really? Well, is she teaching you anything new? And it's like, well, she's new. Every year she grows and expands.
Every day,
I'm the
every
different
moment.
person,
Right.
right? I'm
Exactly.
definitely new from 4 years ago when I started with her. She
Exactly
helped
right.
me take that leap of faith. She told me, like, what if the bigger risk was staying where you are versus exploring the unknown?
I love that. So I want to
Just,
go back to one of the other things you said when you were talking about using the spiritual power of imagination and helping clients. You said It helps clients become a vibratory match for what they desire. And I remember the first time I heard that phrase, I read it on an Abraham Hicks card. And it said, if you do not have what you desire, it's because you have yet to become a vibratory match for your desires.
Yes.
I remember, Julie, I remember thinking to myself, oh my God, that is such crap. Who talks like that? What does that mean anyway? Right?
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't even, and then I got into it and I started studying it. So now I've written a book called Money Vibe. That's all
I
about,
saw that. I was looking
yeah,
on your website. I'm like, I have to grab that. I like that.
yeah. And it's all about the energy and vibration of
Yeah,
desire. So that concept actually had a huge impact on my life. But
sure.
there may be people listening to you say it today thinking, what does she mean by that? That's such crap. I don't even know what that means. So let's dive in a little bit, Julie. What does it mean to become a vibratory match for something?
Oh, it's just, when people talk about the law of attraction, we've all heard that like years and years ago, right? The movie, The Secret, all that. We listen to Abraham Hicks. Like I have people go, oh, I listen to her. I don't need what you're doing. But then they're still not having the things they desire
Right,
show
right,
up in their
right.
life.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you don't know it. You might
Right.
know of it.
Well, what I say to people is you might have an intellectual understanding
Yes.
of it, but you don't know it until you
Right.
demonstrate it in your life.
Yeah. Until it shows up, because what's
Shows
showing
up.
up is what you are attracting, right? It's just, yeah. And the vibration, like we always say too, it's like you trust electricity, right? Unless you didn't pay your electric bill. When you turn the light switch on, it goes on. You trust gravity, that if you jump out of a window, you're going to fall to the ground. It's the laws are there, right? And they're always working for you. So that law of attraction, and Abraham always talks about, it's even the law of vibration comes before the law of attraction, because we are sending out energetic vibrations, whether we are aware of them or not, right? And have you ever walked into a room and somebody's got bad energy?
Oh yeah, you're right.
And you're like,
You look at that person, you're like, I don't really like
oh,
their vibe. I don't know what it
oh
is
yeah,
about them.
yeah,
We even
hear
use
that.
that language colloquially.
Yes.
I like her vibe, or I don't know, I don't really
Is
dig
it
that person's vibe. We say that, but
right?
now we're starting to understand. Yeah,
You
we are
said consciously. I love that.
yeah,
Yes.
we are emitting a vibration based on how we think, how we feel, our beliefs,
Yeah.
our
And then sometimes I think it's like, woo, like my son's like, I go, your energy. I mean, your son can feel your energy when you're, whatever. And he's like, oh, mom, what are you, one of those energy healers? No, I'm not a healer at all. I never said I was a healer, but I can feel energy. And I always could, but now it's so strong because I am in that constant practice of being aware,
yeah,
seeing how it shows up. And it's like,
yeah,
well, why wouldn't you? It's like magic
yeah.
I read a book recently, and the woman, it's old book, the dynamic, I think, laws of prosperity,
Oh,
and
ponder.
love it. And she interviewed a salesman, and when everybody else was having a terrible time and not making their quotas, whenever they asked him how business was, and he's like, business is amazing, there's gold dust in the air. So now I keep saying this with my clients, is like, hey, I don't feel like you want to get some gold sparkles and just throw it everywhere,
That's
just gold
great.
dust in the air, right?
There's gold dust
What's
in
his
the
vibe?
air. Now,
Practice
that has a vibe to it, right? Versus, oh,
vibe.
I hope I get by. I'm
Yeah.
just
Oh my
getting
gosh,
by.
business is so bad. The economy is horrible. Blah, blah, blah. Nobody wants to buy. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that's all the vibration. So when you say you're not a vibratory match, you have to become a vibratory match for your desires. Basically, what you're meaning is you need to change your vibration by changing your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions, your attention, what you focus on. It is the inner world that is the creative element of the outer world.
100%.
Hence, you and I will never be without a job.
Oh, no, we will not.
Until AI replaces us as well.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll still need our help. And I've used AI. I mean, I use it,
Oh, sure.
and it's
I use
just
it all
great
the time.
for brainstorming ideas,
Absolutely.
right?
Fantastic for brainstorming
Got
ideas.
to go with the flow or be left behind and all that stuff. But I mean, I just love what you're doing too, and your conscious living podcast. And I'm going to start tuning into that now that I'm aware of you.
Really awesome. Yeah, and I hope your followers will as well. So, Julie, you've got a free gift to offer to people. Why don't you just say a little bit about that so people can go online, find you, find the free gift, and
Yeah,
we'll
it's just a simple my joy. It's my joy guide.
your
And
Joy CEO guide is
joyful CEO life, but it just spells out the word joyful, and it's just something
okay.
to read and go through every day, and just something quick and easy, and to
Good.
tap to have, remember putting joy first. If joy, like I even have a little sticky note on my computer, it says fun and flow. Like you just want that. And
Beautiful.
joy is up on my wall just to remind me, you
Beautiful.
know, that being fun. Are you having joy in your day, in your activities, and feel good? Then take your inspired action. Right. So this is just a quick guide that they can have on their desk and glance at and read every day. So I'd be happy to share.
You use CEO in a unique way. What does that acronym mean
Oh
for
yeah.
you?
Yes. So when I was hashing out like, oh, what's this going to be called, and what does it feel like, and who do I serve, and all that, and I'm like, well, CEO, and we were like, oh, these women that come to me are confused, they're exhausted and overwhelmed, right? That's the CEO in them. And then after working with me, and some of my clients right from the beginning called me, it's like, I don't feel like you're a coach. I feel like you're a guide, like you're guiding me, and then have more clarity, energy, and overflow. So that's the way I want to reimagine what CEO means.
I love that. I love that, Julie. So where can our listeners find you, get in touch with you, and learn more about you?
Yes, well, I am on all socials, and Julie M. Kraschinsky, because there is another Julie Kraschinsky in the world, believe it or not.
Okay.
And yes, I'm on Instagram. You can find me there. I'm on LinkedIn
What's
and
your
Facebook.
website?
My website is spiritedsoulcoaching.com.
Soulcoaching.com. Beautiful, beautiful URL. Julie, thank you so much for being here with me, being my partner in this walk of raising consciousness on the planet. It's lovely to work with you and collaborate with you. And thank you for sharing such wisdom with our listeners today.
I was delighted to be and honored to be your guest. It was so much fun being on
Thank
here
you
with
so
you.
much. All right.
Thank you.